Munson Williams Proctor, Art and Yoga from Home. I'm Mary Murray, Curator of Modern and Contemporary Art. It's my great pleasure to be part of this program. I'll begin with a brief chat about a work of art from the museum's collection, Milton Avery's poetry reading, an oil painting from 1957, and at 10:30 our yoga practice begins. Also, I've included a poem by Billy Collins, a poem about poetry for your interest. If you're able, would you kindly hit the donate button, and that will help us continue to bring this and other programs to you. Thank you. Milton Avery is an American artist who lived between 1885 and 1965. He grew up in Hartford, Connecticut, and he studied fine art and illustration. And after having moved to New York City in 1927, he saw an exhibition of artwork by the great French painter Henri Matisse. And from Matisse, Milton Avery learned to simplify form, to use color to create form, and to work within a very flat pictorial space. Avery remained a painter of representational subjects, and these included still life and landscape, typically New England subjects from Massachusetts or Vermont. His family spent summers away from New York City. And figures, like poetry reading, typically one or two figures only. Avery always was able to create a sense of quiet harmony in his compositions. In this particular painting, we see warmth and intimacy. He uses a golden earth tone palette and sets two figures within a very simple space. There's a sofa and a table. And he doesn't rely on traditional modeling or a sense of light and dark to give a sense of three dimensions in which these figures rest. Instead, there is a single line that indicates the seat of the sofa on which the figures sit, and at left, he has changed the color of the paint to a lighter ochre yellow, and so it looks as if, because of that line, the sofa is seated within a niche. The figures are equally simple in the rendering, but Avery gives us a lot of information just the same. I assume, based on the way they are dressed, that these are two women. The woman with a shorter skirt seems very relaxed. She sits with her arms at her side and her ankles crossed. She's looking down at the open page on her lap, and she's either wearing a gray hat or probably has gray hair. By contrast, the woman who has her back to us seems much more alert in her body language. She sits upright. She has maybe a top knot or a bun. Her hair seems to be of a darker brown. And her left arm isn't exactly gesticulating, but nevertheless seems more active than the woman sitting next to her. And she's looking directly at her companion. So they are exchanging a moment, having an intimate moment over some kind of literature, some kind of poetry. And poetry, of course, is humankind's original pre-literate way of telling stories. For societies that had no written language yet, could repeat stories in rhythm and in rhyme, origin stories and histories passed from generation to generation. And the idea of speaking poetry out loud is very much based on its tradition as song. I hope that you are sheltering at home safely and comfortably. Perhaps you're reading to a child, to yourself, and I hope that you are able to share the experience in some way or another with friends and loved ones. you so much for being here and for participating. And until next time, namaste.